It's the end of the year for me, and it's one of those kind of nice times, Christmas break between Christmas and New Year's, where you get a bit of time to think, you get a bit of time to reflect and figure out kind of what are the lessons you've learned over the course of the year that you'll apply for going forward. And as I think back through the really good conversations that I had, the cool people I met, and the kind of people that, as I said, when you meet them, they bend your mind and have you thinking in different ways, and ultimately all for the better. The kind of the hanging message that stuck with me and that I'm really trying to think about for going forward is this whole idea of engaging with your flow and not fighting it. So let's break that down a bit because it seems a bit wishy-washy at the moment. There's this thought that as we work, we need to strive, we need to persevere, we need to work so hard. And that's grand, but there is a natural flow to things. There is, when you get things right, when you're in alignment, that things just flow. And it's not that it's easy, but that it flows. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm not repeating myself too much here. But what I mean is that when you're in the right space, in the right environment, and doing the right stuff, things work and things click and things start to come together. Now, sometimes we don't think enough about that, and we blast ourselves into an environment, and no matter what, we're going to make it work, and we'll fight and we'll work so hard and we'll pull it all together. Now, at all times, it's almost pulling you apart, but you're working so bloody hard that you make it work. And although that's doable, that comes at an extraordinarily taxing rate. And there's only so long you can do that before you burn out. And to be completely straight, it's not very efficient. You're spending so much energy trying to make things work, when in actual fact, they're just not meant to work. And if you actually thought about things a little bit different and got yourself into the right environment, perhaps you wouldn't have to work so hard, and perhaps things would work that bit easier. Anyway, that's the thought I'm trying to get myself through. And I've been spending the whole year reflecting on the different projects I've been involved in. And what were the messages? What were the natural stumbling blocks and kind of challenges that you face doing anything new or doing any kind of part in work? And what were the actual messages from the universe that were telling me, Jamie, you're in the wrong space. You shouldn't be doing this. This is out of sync or out of alignment for you. Get out of there. And so, yeah, I've been spending the last few days thinking about that and thinking about, okay, well, what were the right messages and what were just the natural kind of stumbling blocks and challenges? How does all that come together, and where does that set me? What course does that put me on for next year? Because I don't want to fight the world and fight the environment and do everything I can to pull something together to force it to be successful. I want to get myself into my right space where, of course, I'm going to have to work hard, and of course, I'm going to have to really put a lot of work in to make it work. But it has a natural work to it. It has a natural flow. So anyway, that's the thing, the thought, the kind of the key thing I'm taking from really this year and trying to look to apply for next year. It's to get myself into my right space, to get myself into the right environment that complements me or that I complement, and that things flow. And to not get carried away over enthusiastically and fight all the obstacles and make things work and force them to work whether they really should or not. Instead, I'm going to try and listen a hell of a lot more, make sure I'm in the right place, and make sure things flow from there. Anyway, there's a bit in that, and you kind of have to take parts of it with a pinch of salt and apply whatever you want to yourselves. But I think it is interesting that sometimes we find ourselves in relationships that we're working so hard to make work, when in actual fact they shouldn't. And if we stop fighting it, let it go, perhaps we'd find ourselves in a better position. It's the same for relationships, as it's the same for work, as it's the same for certain hobbies and stuff. Sometimes we think we should really enjoy something when we actually don't. And if we just let it go, we'd make space for that thing that will actually work. And so if you dig deep into that, what it's all about is it's actually about building a much, much more in sync life and lifestyle, where you're not fighting all the time, but in actual fact, you're flowing. Anyway, as I said, I'm taking huge amounts from that, and it's actually a real pleasure, as I said, reflecting back on the year, looking at everything, and I suppose priming things for going forward, and I hope there's some value for you in that.